Hey family, I'm Dracia. As the Hallownest community patiently waits for Silksong, tons of really interesting speedruns and challenges have surfaced. Many of them provide fun and unique challenges, and use skips that are otherwise obsolete or useless in the main speed categories. Some are really funny, like Menderbug Percent, some are brutal, like Pantheon of Hallownest All Bindings, and some are just masochistic, like Low Percent True Ending. The challenge you're about to see is heavily inspired by Chaotic Meatball's Professor Oak's Challenge series, so shoutouts to him. If you haven't seen it, I've linked it in the description, but the gist of it is that he fills up the Pokédex as much as possible before obtaining a new gym badge. Obviously we don't have gym badges here, but taking into account the fact that they allow HM usage and therefore open up more exploration, we're going to do something similar here with movement upgrades. So, without further ado, here is Professor Monomon's challenge. First things first, the rules. I must get as much completion percentage as possible before I get a new movement skill. I won't be counting individual mask shards or vessel fragments, only full upgrades. I'm playing on current patch because it has 112% versus the 106% on the standard speedrun patch. No major glitches, no shade skips. We're also going for 3 of the 4 endings, skipping Sealed Siblings, because hey, why not? And finally, I must fight Nightmare King Grim. Carefree Melody is dope, but banishing is the easy way out. There are 2 exceptions to these rules, which I'll explain more in depth later. I'm going to ascend the Seer after I get Mantis Claw, and Shade Cloak will not count as a movement upgrade. So, starting in King's Pass, we're going to collect all of the Georocks there. This will be a running theme. There's a lot of early game shopping before we can sell relics, so we need all the money we can get. Basically, as long as it isn't a wild detour, assume I've picked up the rocks. The first thing we do is go right back in, bounce on a few spikes, and pick up Fury of the Fallen for our first percent. And of course, we say hi to Elderbug because this isn't a speedrun and he's a cool dude. Forgotten Crossroads is fairly standard. Drop down, get some grubs, fight the Aspets. In the Gome Room, we're going to pogo this Vengefly for early access to the Mask Shard. From here, we open the Stag Station, pull a Chris Benoit on the Sleeping Bug and her Xenomorph children, and save Yoda. We pick up some more grubs on our way to False Knight, murder him and steal his life savings, get Vengeful Spirit, play Pest Control for Dog Ladman here, and pick up Soul Catcher, benching on our way out. Taking the scenic route, we get another grub by gathering Swarm from Sly, and get some Geo and a Mask Shard from Daddy here. On our way back down, we fight Maluk, get another Mask Shard, and continue down toward Fungal Wastes. Here is one of the coolest tricks that the current patch gave us, Stallball. Shout out to Dan Olav for finding this. Basically, if you aim Vengeful Spirit at a slope from the right spot, it coasts down the slope and you can pogo it to reach places early. It's extremely precise and very tricky, but luckily there's a hot spring nearby to refill soul if you don't get it the first or 12th time. Practice and patience is key, and we finally get it. With the Geo we have, we can only afford 1 charm from Leg Eater, and Fragile Greed is the most important. While charm notches don't actually count towards completion, they're extremely useful and actually vital for the upcoming Geo grind. Plus the Geo from the Shroomal Ogres is nice. We continue down Fungal Wastes, we save Blimpy, open the nearby shortcut, meet Sans Undertale, and quit out to work back to Ancestral Mount. Equip Fragile Greed and Gathering Swarm, and off we go to Green Path. We're taking the long way to Hornet to get more grubs and Geo. We'll bench at Stone Sanctuary and Fireball skip to Old Mossy. Fun fact, mini-bosses like Massive Moss Charger and Vengefly King will drop more Geo if you have Greed equipped. Speaking of Vengefly King, we murder him too. We'll open the Stag here and bench, then it's off to fight Hornet. Wait, roll that back. She totally just said Dracia. Anyway, after the fight, we are not going to pick up Mothwing Cloak, instead just quitting out. We'll make a quick pit stop at Dirtmouth so we can visit Daddy again for some more money and grub song. Head back up, Stag to Crossroads, and you can Fireball skip to Salubra. You should have enough Geo by now to buy all of her charms, along with another notch if you want. I do want. We'll overcharm with Fragile Greed, Gathering Swarm, and Shaman Stone, and it's time for the Geo grind. Luckily, with Shaman Stone, Herald dies pretty quickly. 3 fireballs and 2 nail hits make short work of him. Between him and Gathering Soul between kills, we get about 60 Geo per run. Now put on some music, because you're going to be here for a while. The magic number is 3,220 Geo. Let's do this. With our pockets full, it's time to get Dreamnail. Stag to Dirtmouth by everyone's favorite charm from Iselda, along with Stalwart Shell and Lumafly Lantern from Sly. Stag back to Crossroads and head into Crystal Peak. At this point, you might want to unequip Fragile Greed so you don't die with it in the dark room. I'm totally not speaking from experience. With Dreamnail obtained, we may as well get the Whispering Root while we're here. We get Dream Shield, open and bench at the Stag, and pogo up to 0. Save and quit to warp back to the Stag, and then it's off to Green Path from here. Bench at this Stag too. It's no secret that Eyeless Jack is my favorite creepypasta, and that probably has some influence on why No Eyes is my favorite Dream Warrior. After we defeat her, we get her Essence and our 4th Mask Shard, completing our first full mask. You could technically go down Fog Canyon and Fireball skip past Queen Station to get back to Fungal, but we're going to Stallball again. It's much easier with Shaman Stone as well. It's faster to get to Leg Eater this way, where we buy the other 2 Fragile Charms. We fight Elder Hoomstedif on our way down as well, and this is why I opted to wait until after Claw to ascend the Seer. With only 1 Root and 3 Dream Warriors, we'd have to grind nearly 2,000 Essence from regular enemies, and I'm sorry, but I don't have Scurry's level of patience. If that bothers you and you think it invalidates the run, then I totally get it, but I made this challenge to have fun. Essence grinding is not fun. So we go without the 3% from Dream Wielder, Awoken Dreamnail, and Ascending the Seer. I realized while I was writing the script that Dreamgate doesn't actually contribute to completion either. I always thought it did. The current patch, Explosion Pogo, is impossible without dash, so we once again take the long way down to Mantis Village, where we fireball skip to the main area. This is, without a doubt, the hardest fireball skip, and I decided to give myself Infinite Soul here to save the grind. The funny thing is, the first time I got it, I didn't notice until after I got Claw that I had forgotten to hit record. So I had to go back, take Claw away from myself with the debug mod, and do the whole goddamn thing again. We fuck up the pogo as well, so we end up having to fireball skip across the platforms to reach Mantis Claw, our first movement ability. At this point, we have 28% completion. We're a quarter of the way there already. Exactly a quarter of the way, actually. Pretty cool. And that brings us to the end of part 1. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for future content if you want, and leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and predictions for what we might achieve in part 2, which will be coming soon. Thanks again, love y'all, and stay awesome.